Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a hell of a show in store for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. Now, preseason games are beginning today and tomorrow. If I'm not mistaken, it's either today or tomorrow. And I think the Lakers are going to be one of the teams that's included amongst those new preseason games. Now, why is it notable that the Lakers are going to be included? Yes, they're going to be playing today. Yes, against the Minnesota Timberwolves. But why is it notable that the Lakers are going to be in the starting preseason tonight? Apart from the fact that it's already the Lakers and they have all of the hoopla and drama that comes with them and the media attention, this particular season is a little bit different. Why? Because this year, the Lakers are going to be debuting their new head coach in J.J. Redick. Now, prior to J.J. Redick getting the job, they had looked at people like Dan Hurley, but then ultimately that didn't end up working out. But there were other coaches out there that had a little bit more experience than J.J., but nevertheless, they decided to go in his direction. Now, what did we know about J.J. Redick prior to him becoming the Lakers head coach? Number one, we knew that obviously he was a three-point shooter when he played in the NBA. He loved to talk basketball. He had a podcast after he retired called The Old Man and the Three, which was very, very successful. And I think it was that podcast that got him noticed by executives at ESPN. And then ultimately he became a contributor on ESPN. You saw him there on ESPN First Take. And then, you know, he would be there talking basketball. But he would also be very combative, especially with people who I guess were trying to form narratives or call out NBA players for various actions or things that they say. He would get very, very flustered over things like that. And then he would get into some very spirited debates. Like I remember the time him and Stephen A. Smith got into this huge debate over Kawhi Leonard, and JJ genuinely seemed to be pissed off. There was a thing about the Doc Rivers comments, and there was a thing with him and Chris Mad Dog Russo. There was a thing with him and Nikola Jokic, where Kendrick Perkins was basically trying to paint the narrative that, Nikola Jokic is stat padding, all of these different. So we know JJ from that. And then his role kind of morphed into a show that he had with LeBron James, the biggest star in the NBA, called Mind the Game podcast, right? And then after that, before you know it, here we are. JJ Redick is now the new coach for the Los Angeles Lakers, and there are a lot of expectations from him. I think there should be just as much expectations on J.J. Redick as there is with any head coach coaching the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't think he should be exempt from anything. Darvin Ham didn't receive any exemptions. He was scrutinized heavily, right? Especially by Laker fans. So we're going to be looking for you guys to come out with that same fervor and passion this season, the same way you scrutinized Darvin Ham. Certainly not even taking into account the way the organization treated him as well. So what happened? This morning I was going through the internet and I came across an article. And as soon as I read the headline, I said, yep, this is J.J. Redick. The article had the following headline. It says, J.J. Redick calls out reporter for trying to create a narrative around Rui Hachimura. And I was like, boy, here we go. The season ain't even really kicked off like that yet. And JJ's already fighting with reporters. But before we even get into what JJ Redick had to say, speaking of games that are going to be played today, our sponsor today is Game Time, who's the official sponsor of today's video. With only 4 months left until the end of the year, I look forward to creating special moments with family and friends by attending various theaters, shows, plays, and sporting events. And when it comes time for me to look for tickets, I absolutely love to use Game Time. Game Time is one of the most reliable marketplaces for last-minute tickets to the most popular events in sports, music, and theater in more than 60 cities across the United States and Canada. Game Time saves me money, time, and peace of mind, so I don't have to sort through thousands of tickets looking for the best prices or worry about whether or not if they're authentic or whether I'm going to receive them on time. Game Time Picks, one of my favorite Game Time tools, analyzes thousands of tickets for all of your favorite events near your location and finds you the best possible deal so you don't have to. For example, I'm looking forward to this upcoming concert at Madison Square Garden of one of my favorite composers, Hans Zimmer. Here, I can select the all-in price to see the total ticket price up front. No hidden fees. And now I can sort through the best possible deals I can find. I can choose the cheapest deals, the great deal, or the amazing deal. Once you select the ticket you want, you can use their panoramic seat view to ensure you know exactly what you're getting before you buy. And if you're like me and always make plans at the last minute, you can grab tickets up to 90 minutes after the event has started. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and use redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So let's get into what this article had to say here. It says, JJ Redick wasn't going to tolerate a reporter who tried to egg him into creating a narrative about Rui Hachimura. When the reporter asked him about what's the next steps Rui needed to take to develop, Redick turned the question around onto the reporter before lambasting him and saying that he could care less about Rui's impact on winning rather than what's the next step the reporter was referencing. Reporter, do you think Rui could take the next step for you guys? Redick, what is the next step? Reporter, you tell me. Redick, you tell me. You're creating the narrative. What is the next step? I don't care about the next step for Rui. I care about his impacts or how he impacts winning on our team. And for me, that's the next step. And I think he can do that. We have to look for opportunities for him to use his skills, particularly as an ISO and post player. We have to be cognizant of what his shot profile looks like in terms of the mid-range shots, the volume, and the percentage of shots he's taking from the mid-range. I think we've talked about with him, and we've continued to emphasize with him. We will have high-level impact. We will have a high-level impact on winning. And then the article then says Redick was absolutely fair for calling out the reporter who was trying for what he was trying to do, especially considering the fact that it could have an impact on a player's psyche when a negative narrative is put out there about. So you heard what the article had to say there. A quick thing that I'm thinking about this as I'm talking about it before I even get into his comments. You know, it is going to be very interesting this season to see the coverage of the media of JJ Redick versus Darvin Ham. Do you know what I find to be interesting about JJ Redick? JJ Redick is talking like as if he has 3 championships. He's talking more than Greg Popovich. You would think JJ Redick is Greg Popovich by the way he was talking. I'm noticing that. So JJ already going at reporters and all of that stuff. And what I'm going to be most interested to see is what happens if this team starts losing or goes through a losing streak and JJ's still on this type of time. I'm going to be very interested to see, number one, how Laker fans react. Are you guys going to give JJ Redick a pass? And number 2, I'm going to be very interested to see how the media reacts to JJ Redick. Because if I'm being honest with you, Darvin Ham was a lot more humble with his language when he took the job versus JJ. Darvin was like, man, I'm really grateful for the opportunity. JJ's like, I deserve to be in this spot. 2 totally different dispositions here. And I'm just in marvel. Like I'm in awe at how JJ Redick is comporting himself in these interviews. You saw it initially during his introductory press conference when he just essentially went out there and was basically, you know, cursing up a storm, and some Laker fans were a bit turned off by that. And I'm looking at him like, yo, you up there talking that talk like as if you that dude. We shall see. I'm gonna be waiting for all of you creators that sat up there and twerked all over the internet last season. I mean, twerking it up. Tossing ones out the window. Couldn't catch them. Could not catch them. Every video. Darvin Ham is useless. Darvin Ham is a bloody fool. Darvin Ham is this. Darvin Ham is that. I'm gonna be looking for you dudes this season if the Lakers experience any turmoil. Because the way Coach Redick is talking right now, you would have thought son was Phil Jackson. You would have thought he was Phil Jackson. Okay. All right. We shall see. So the question to the audience is the following. What do you feel about the exchange between JJ Redick and the reporter? Do you think it's smart for JJ to try to make enemies out of reporters? And number two, do you think JJ will be held to the same standard that the former rookie head coach Darvin Ham was held to by Laker fans and the media? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we'll catch you guys on the next show. Peace.